Welcome to a Legendarium special about the Victorians' fear of being buried alive. In this episode, we will learn why people in the 19th century came to fear being buried alive and the precautions they took against it. Today, we take precise medical care for granted. Doctors have a wide range of techniques to track a person's brain activity and heart rate. However, in earlier times, doctors did not have such methods, which made it possible that an unconscious or comatose person would be buried alive. This led to several occasions where families held funerals for dead loved ones, only to see them suddenly open their coffins and arise during the service. The folk tale of the lady with the ring has several versions told throughout the world, but in British folklore it tells the tale of Lady Mount Edgecombe who fell ill. Her family buried her thinking her dead. A grave robber took advantage of this loss by trying to dig her up shortly after the burial to steal a ring her family buried her with. Lady Mount Edgecombe awoke, however, scaring the grave robber to death. It seems that the Mary Shelley novel Frankenstein, published in 1818, excited a profound fear among people in the English-speaking world. Taphophobia, the fear of being buried alive, spread quickly, and people came to see mistaken death preceding a live burial as something that must be avoided at all costs. This pandemic of doubt spread across Europe, the United Kingdom, and the United States. This sparked a century's worth of both grotesque and ingenious devices designed to ease the survivors' minds. During the early 18th century, a wave of cholera epidemic scythed the population of European and American cities. With so many people facing a slow death by diarrhea and dehydration, several inventions appeared to relieve the fear of premature burial. During the 1830s, the safety coffin provided its occupants with the ability to escape from their newly found entrapment. They could alert others above ground that they still lived, and many safety coffins included comfortable cotton padding, feeding tubes, intricate systems of cords attached to bells, and escape hatches. Unfortunately, most neglected methods for providing air. In the year 1844, Edgar Allan Poe wrote a short story called Premature Burial about a man consumed with the fear of being buried alive. The protagonist goes to great lengths to guard against this, only to be interred alive at story's end. In the hopes of reviving near-dead victims, Victorians created tobacco smoke enemas. Victorians believed that smoke blown through a pipe into the rectum brought people back from the brink of death. Waiting mortuaries, where the authorities kept bodies until they showed signs of putrefaction, gained in popularity across Europe during the late 1800s. They served as hospitals for the dead, their wards of corpses watched over by nurses. To mask the smell of rotting flesh and organs, nurses placed flower arrangements beside each bed. The year 1892 also saw the rise of the bell system, created by Dr. Johann Gottfried Taberger. This system had some things in common with the devices portrayed in Poe's short story. Bells kept above the ground connected to strings attached to the dead person's head, hands, and feet. If a bell rang, the cemetery watchman would push a tube into the coffin and pump air using bellows until the person could be safely removed from their grave. However, due to the process of natural decay, a swelling corpse could activate the bell system, leading to numerous false alarms about premature burial, which only further fed the fear. Despite its popular use, there is no record of a safety coffin actually saving anyone. There are, however, several accounts of premature burial, both during the reign of Queen Victoria and beyond. Few are more dramatic than the tale of Rufina Cambaceres, the Argentinian woman known as the girl who died twice. The story goes that in 1902, on her 19th birthday, Rufina readied for a night out in Buenos Aires when she suddenly collapsed and died. 3 doctors declared her dead, and the young woman's family placed her in a coffin, gave her a funeral, and sealed Rufina in a tomb at Recoleta Cemetery. A few days later, according to the legend, a cemetery worker noticed that the coffin moved. Suspecting a grave robber, he opened the casket and discovered scratch marks on the inside. Rufina had been buried alive, awakened in her tomb, and made an escape attempt, smashing and scratching the lid of her tomb before she died of cardiac arrest. Like many buried alive stories, it is hard to separate truth from fiction. Rufina's story is told with varying layers of embellishment. In one version, her first death is caused by the scandalous revelation that her boyfriend had been sleeping with his own mother, something straight out of a soap opera. Of course, going into the 20th century, an increasingly sophisticated medical community made the fear of premature burial a thing of the past. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.